All right, welcome back, everybody, or welcome in. I wanted to do a year-end Crosby Rants after what a crazy year we had. And let me get my notepad here. Hang on one second. And I wanted to do two things. I went back and I watched a video from March that I did about the state of the different teams in our state and which teams, and ranked them, had the best chance at winning a championship or were positioned the best to win a championship. So I wanted to kind of review that, what I said, how I ranked them, and how I feel about them now. If I can find my notes, probably going to be difficult to do. I didn't keep my place. Oh, there we go. And I also wanted to do a list. So very briefly, the top 4 most overrated things about New Year's Eve. I think we can all agree New Year's Eve is the most overrated holiday. It is absolutely awful to me. I don't know why. I've never liked it, but it is completely overrated. Okay? Give me 4th of July, give me Thanksgiving, give me Christmas, give me Halloween, give me President's Day, give me MLK, give me Arbor Day about the trees. Isn't that what that is? The one with the trees? Anything other than New Year's Eve. It's just a completely overrated holiday. And I'm going to give you the 4 things that are the most overrated about it. But before that, wanted to talk about sports, had some things I needed to get off my chest about the Falcons, the Braves, Georgia Tech, those type of things, and then UGA a little bit. Couldn't do it in just a post, so figured I'd do a little quick video for everybody, a year-end wrap-up to Crosby Rants. So I went back and watched video in March. Here's how I ranked the teams in the state and where they were positioned best to win a championship. I had a tie for 4th, and I was way off on this, and I'm going to correct this. I had the tie at 4th with the Hawks and Georgia Tech football. Now, neither team are close to winning a championship at this point. But without a doubt, the Hawks are in better shape than Georgia Tech football. Georgia Tech football won 3 games again this year. Yeah, recruiting's been okay still. Yeah, they started a freshman quarterback and freshman running back. But Georgia Tech is not in position to win a championship. Okay? They're still, if at best case scenario, 4 years away from that. So they're going to go down to 5th on the list. And the Hawks, right now, are looking pretty good. If you watched the game last night against the Nets, they have scores everywhere. They can shoot the 3. Every guy on the team can score. Team defensively, they're not very good right now. And in the NBA playoffs, or when later in the season, what ends up happening in the NBA, the superstars and the studs start playing very tough defense, and then the superstars and the studs take over games. You saw that last night with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving kind of piddled around a little bit in the first half. Didn't look that good. 4th quarter, 21 points, 17 points in the 4th quarter. Could not miss. Did whatever he wanted to. We threw traps at him, double teams at him. Kyrie Irving could not be stopped. Trae Young made a little bit of poor decisions at the end of the game, I thought. Throughout the game, I just didn't feel like he had his best game. Now, still a great game. Still a great game. The way I put it to some friends was Trae Young is a star. Kyrie Irving is a superstar right now. There's a difference. Kevin Durant is a superstar. Trae Young is a star in the league. He's not quite ready yet. But he may be by the end of the year. But that game last night showed a little bit of a difference between the two. The Hawks are in a much better position to win a championship than Georgia Tech right now. And I'd have to put the Hawks at number 3. Yes, I put the Hawks at number 3. Georgia Tech at 5. Atlanta United at 4. I'm not even going to talk about the Atlanta United. Right now, they're irrelevant. Yeah, they won a championship before everybody else, but whether you soccer fans like it or not, it just takes a back seat to the other sports in this state. So, but United are still a pretty good team with Joseph Martinez. They've had some coaching changes, and they were boring to watch this last year. Number two is going to be UGA. I had the Atlanta Braves at number 2 in March. I thought the Atlanta Braves were number 2 spot to win a championship, but this year I would reassess that, and I would say UGA should be at number 2. Reason being is the quarterback situation is still a question mark. JT Daniels did look good at the end of the year, and Georgia would have been probably in a better chance to win a championship this year if Jamie Newman had played or JT Daniels had played all year. But we know Jamie Newman opted out. JT Daniels apparently was hurt. Poor kid Stetson Bennett did the best he could. Just wasn't a D1 quarterback for UGA. Stetson Bennett could possibly play D1 somewhere else, but not at UGA. And so I think you got to switch the Atlanta Braves and UGA. UGA is now the second team in the state most poised to win a championship, where the Atlanta Braves are number one. I'll talk about the Atlanta Braves a little bit here in a second. Real quick about UGA. Going to have a lot of guys opting out of the game tomorrow. Big game against Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati straight up, not even against the spread. I think this is going to be the Super Bowl for Cincinnati. We've seen this play out many times. One team is super motivated. One team's got a bunch of people opting out. This happens especially with SEC teams. SEC teams especially seem to have a bunch of guys that opt out. They don't come in motivated, and they get run out of the stadium. I think that's going to happen to UGA tomorrow. I think Cincinnati's going to beat UGA by 10 points. I really do. I don't think UGA has any motivation in that game whatsoever, and it's going to show on the field. But UGA is in position to win a championship still because they have so much talent. Now this year, even with Jamie Newman, they're not beating Alabama. The only team that has a small chance of beating Alabama is Clemson because of their quarterback. Georgia was not going to beat Alabama. Now, I think Georgia would have beat Florida with JT Daniels. And Florida is a train wreck right now. But Georgia, number 2. Number 1, the Atlanta Braves. Game 7 of the NLCS. I mean, they're right there on the verge this year. They've got the young core of pitchers. They bring in Charlie Morton. They still got to sign that one bat. I'd be fine with them bringing back Marcell Ozuna. They have to get that one stick to protect Freddie Freeman. And then after that, they're in good shape. Now, they still got to get by the Dodgers. They're still going to have to get by some teams with heavy payrolls. This year may have been the shot. I hope we don't look back at this year like we do the Falcons' chance at the Super Bowl in 2016 and go, boy, that was the chance when you're up 3-1 against the Dodgers in the NLCS and you were going to get to go play the Tampa Bay Rays. That was your window. That was your chance. I hope that's not what we look back on one day. I'm afraid it is. But the Braves right now are in good shape with the young core of players, a great pitching staff, love their bullpen, love their starters, love their offense. One more stick is all they need. Then it's just a matter of everything falling into place, getting some luck along the way. All right. Oh, and by the way, number 6 is the Atlanta Falcons. What a train wreck. What an absolute train wreck. And I told you what the Falcons should have done going into this season, which was draft DeAndre Swift, which he wasn't outstanding, but he was solid. Todd Gurley was a disaster. We knew that, now, I say a disaster. They didn't pay Todd Gurley hardly anything. 1-year deal. He's moving on. But Todd Gurley, most people knew his legs were done. His knees are done. He is done as a primary running back in the NFL. It is what it is. Great running back for a few years. Was a great running back at UGA. But he is done as a primary running back. That is over. Now, he can maybe come in to spot some, on the goal line for a team. But his days of carrying the ball 20, 25 times a game are done. But the Falcons are a train wreck. Their cap space is atrocious. Here's what I would do very briefly, and I said this back in March. Trade Julio Jones. Trade Matt Ryan. I don't know anything about salary cap. And yeah, this probably means it would be dead salary cap space, so you couldn't even do it. Whatever. Take the salary cap out of it. I've got 2 great landing spots. Have to give credit to some of my friends who talked about this. Makes perfect sense. Matt Ryan to the 49ers to reunite with Shanahan. Julio Jones to the Miami Dolphins. They got to have a weapon for Tua. They've got a good team. They need one big offensive weapon. You get assets, you move on. Draft, I would draft either Justin Fields if he's available or the kid from BYU. Trevor Lawrence is going to be gone. Those are the 2 guys, to me, you go after. And then you do nothing but draft offensive linemen and defensive linemen until you have a solid trenches. That's what you got to do. So, Braves number 1, UGA number 2. I think I said the Atlanta United number 3. Actually, I'm going to change that. Hawks number 3. Atlanta United number 4. Georgia Tech football number 5. The Atlanta Falcons 6. That's how bad and poorly I think of the Atlanta Falcons. Okay? And we're not even going to talk about Georgia Tech basketball. Irrelevant. All right. Real quick, we're going to be done. Top 4 things that are overrated about New Year's Eve. The most overrated holiday there is. And what are the top 4 things that are the most overrated about that holiday? Number 4, champagne. Disgusting, gross. If you like drinking champagne other than 1 sip on New Year's Eve or at a wedding, you're a serial killer. Bottom line. You find somebody that likes champagne and wants to drink champagne other than 1 little bitty sip on New Year's Eve or at a wedding at a toast, serial killer. Fact. Terrible. Number 3, fireworks. Fireworks is 4th of July. Nobody wants to hear fireworks on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, shoot your gun up in the air. If you got a gun, shoot it up. No, I'm just kidding. That's what we did in Palmetto, though. It's what a lot of the guys, my dad and some other neighbors, New Year's Eve, take the shotgun outside, shoot it in the air. I'm not advocating that because I'm sure there's all kinds of laws against that. So it just happened what we did in Palmetto. Fireworks, though, on New Year's Eve, overrated. Don't want to hear it. Don't care anything about it. Fireworks, in my opinion, are overrated, period. But on New Year's Eve, even more so. Keep your fireworks for 4th of July. That's the time you shoot off fireworks, not New Year's Eve. Last 2. Definitely we'll go on a little bit of a tangent on these. The second one. The idea that somehow your life is going to be any different tomorrow than it is today. And you see people post about it in social media all the time. Oh, thank goodness 2020 is over. Your problems today are going to be your problems tomorrow. And any good fortune you have today is going to be your good fortune tomorrow. The calendar change means nothing. Things don't start new. And I'm not even talking about New Year's resolutions. Setting goals are fine. But somehow this idea I see people post of, oh, thank goodness 2020 is going to be over. Guess what? COVID will still be here in 2021 tomorrow. If you're fat like me, I'm still going to be fat tomorrow. If you're broke, you're going to be broke tomorrow. And if you're rich, skinny, good looking, any of those things, you're going to be all those things tomorrow too. So the idea that just because at midnight the calendar changes, your life is going to be any different or things are going to be any different is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. New Year's resolution's fine. I like setting goals. I'm big on setting goals. But you thinking your life is going to be different. Oh, thank goodness 2020 is over. 2021 is going to be my year. Why couldn't December of 2020 be your year? It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing people post about on social media. Only next to 42-year-old men posting YouTube videos. The number 1 most overrated thing about New Year's Eve, and talked about this in the group text the other morning, hotel parties. Let me lay these things out for you real quick. And most of you have probably gone to them, or a lot of you have probably gone to them. I went to one, much younger. Here's what a hotel party for New Year's Eve consists of. You're going to pay, what is it, $120, $150 for a ticket to go to an event where you have to dress up in like a tuxedo or a suit. There's going to be a cover band that's probably going to be like an 80s cover band that you could go see for free any other time at any local establishment, at a Loco's or the Carrollton Square. It's going to be, all you can eat and all you can drink. Well, that just sounds awesome. Let me dress up in a suit. Let me, get all dressed up. Let me go to this big crowded place, and then all I can eat shrimp. Oh, I'll feel great. I'll just feel fantastic after I eat all the shrimp I can eat. So I'm going to pay $120 for that, $150, however much it is. Oh, and you're probably going to know to stay at that hotel. That's probably going to run you $199, $299 a night for New Year's Eve. Oh, guess what? Parking, you're going to pay $40, $50 for parking. And chances are you got to park across the street because the parking deck for the Hyatt is filled. So you got to park across the street or 2 blocks down, lug all your stuff to the hotel, pay $40 to park there overnight, dress up in a tie and a suit, eat as much shrimp as you can, feel terrible. Oh, and by the way, you can pay $60 for VIP. What's VIP mean? They put a little piece of rope around, and like you can just go on that other side of the rope, and everybody else is on this side of the rope. That's it. For the extra $6. Oh, and maybe you get like a dessert. You get a piece of cheesecake. Hotel parties on New Year's Eve. Thinking how that is the worst The worst idea ever. And we all did it. I did it. And it was terrible. Right now, you couldn't pay me $200 to go do all that. Let alone me spend close to $500 or however much to go do it for one night. Terrible. It's the most overrated thing ever. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that right now because of COVID. You can't even have those hotel parties. Terrible thing, though. When they come back, just remember, you're 42 years old. You're much better off looking at Twitter, watching YouTube videos, or watching a football game and going to bed at 9:30, which is what I'll be doing tonight. Everybody have a great New Year's. Be safe. Remember, if your life stinks tonight, your life's still going to stink tomorrow.